This is Math 6 video for Friday, April 10th. So we're going to today start talking about percents and decimals. So I really felt like the teaching part of it is a little confusing. It kind of goes all the way around the world to get to the point. So we're just going to start with your work today. So go ahead and get out your work, label your homework, your daily work, number 1, and we're going to just work through it, and then I'm going to kind of stop on the side and explain things to you. So on number 1, it says write each percent as a ratio and a decimal fraction. Okay, so what they're going to do is, number 1, they give you 30%. Okay, now when we talk about percent of anything, we're talking about out of 100. Okay, so the way that we change a percent into a fraction and a decimal, there's 2 ways, okay? And right now, they want it as a decimal and a ratio. And a ratio is kind of like a fraction, right? So we represent it in fraction form. So I'm going to take my 30%, and I'm going to say, okay, well, 30% of 100 would be 30 100ths. Okay? Now, when I write this ratio, actually they're not having you reduce it. That's all you have to do. That's your ratio. Okay? Then we're going to write it as a decimal. Now, this is how you change a percent to a decimal. We're actually kind of multiplying it by 100, so we're going to take our decimal point, which would start here, and we're going to move it over 2 places. 1, 2. Okay? So we start at our decimal point, we move it over 2 places, and I would get 0.3. Okay? This is how you change a percent to a ratio or a fraction, and how you change a percent to a decimal. Okay? Let's do number 2 together just to make sure that you're onto the concept. 64%. So I take my percentage and I put it over 100. Okay, that's my ratio. And then to change it to a decimal, I move my decimal point 2 places. So I get 0 and 6400ths. Make sure you're putting a 0 in for that ones place, please. Okay, now number 6 on your work. Skip down to number 6. And 6 says, write each ratio as a percent. So they give us 49 to 100. Okay? Well, I'm going to write my ratio in fraction form first. And do you remember how we went, look at this. What do you think we're going to do here? Well, once we get a number over 100, we can say that that is the percent. So 49%. Okay? Let's jump down to number 11. And it says write each decimal as a percent. Well, remember when we had a percent, we went left 2 places? Well, when we have a decimal, we're going to go right 2 places. 19, I don't need the decimal there anymore, percent. Okay? Now, look down at number 16. 16, it says, write each percent as a common fraction with a denominator of 100 and as a fraction in its lowest terms. So they give us 8%, which we know to say that the fraction is 8 over 100. Okay, so they want this as your first answer. And then your second answer, they want you to reduce the fraction. So I can say 8 divided by 4 equals 2. And 100 divided by 4 equals 25. So 2 over 24. Let's see, can I reduce that more? Oh, sorry, 25. I cannot reduce that more. My apologies. So for 16, we have 2 answers. We have the ratio or the fraction, and then the reduced fraction. Okay? All right. Well, I'll let you start working through those. I hope that that was simple for you to understand. Go ahead and do numbers 1 through 26.